All right, so today we're down here in Everglades City on this brisk January afternoon. And we wanted to take the opportunity to share with you this exciting project that we're getting ready to start. It's the historic bank of what used to be the Bank of the Everglades. Classic Carpentry has been awarded the project due to our projects that we've done down in Naples with the Historical Society down there. This is a massive project from a structural standpoint, from a cosmetic standpoint, and the finishes. We anticipate this project to be the centerpiece of Everglades City. Starting with the project, we've got some major structural issues that we're going to have to address. And although it's been standing here for 100 years, we have issues with the foundation, we have issues with subsidence, we're accustomed to. And they've got some great engineering techniques that we're going to use in this project to stabilize what we've got here before we move on with all of the finishes. But let's take a look around the outside of the building. The front facade of the building will relatively, the silhouette, I'll say, will remain the same. The front stoops will all be removed and replaced. The front entry door, which is now weather beaten, will be replaced with a glamorous palladium window that's going to go up above that. Where you see the Bank of Everglades sign up there, that silhouette will remain and be restored to its original condition. All the windows in the place will be replaced with correct, or I should say windows in character for the age of the building, but they will be impact rated, hurricane impact rated. Everything will be encased with new trim work and millwork, also in character with the time of the building. As we walk around the structure, you'll see that the stucco, the original stucco process they used 100 years ago, is in amazing shape. And when we get inside the building, you'll be able to see why. So there really is, outside of repairs and reskimming of the building, there won't be much done there. The foundation, on the other hand, is crumbling. And that could be to a number of reasons. Back in the early 1900s, it wasn't unusual for them to use seashells for aggregate for the concrete. The downside to that is if they're not cleansed properly, it allows salt water to get into the foundation, corrodes the rebar, and it begins to crumble from the inside. You see a lot of buildings that have issues on this coast and on the other coast, and that's generally the reason. It could also be because of the floodwaters. This building was turned over to the Everglades Society for Historic Preservation a few years ago because Hurricane Irma did a number on it, and it hasn't been used since. The building was originally a bank. It's been used for a number of different purposes, as well as a bed and breakfast in the meantime, but since been donated to Everglades Society for Historic Preservation since. On the back end of the building, you'll see here, there was an addition that was done in the 50s. Our construction calls for that entire addition to be demolished. In its place will be an elevator shaft on this side with open terraces on the other side. Of course, we'll be adding a handicapped ramp, extensive landscaping, exterior lighting, meandering sidewalks that'll run around the entire property. The roof on the addition is now leaking, and as you can see, there's not much that can be done with this structure that's attached to the back. As we come around the other side of the building here, you'll see the condition of the addition. With the construction will be all new electrical services, new plumbing, new mechanical systems, new sprinkler systems. Everything will be updated to today's code and today's standard, while maintaining the character of the way the structure was originally built. So let's walk around, let's take a look inside. Okay, so the original foundation construction was basically a footing and wall that sat on the existing ground. As you can see from the front porch is literally falling away from the building. This is the only part of the building that we see that we have major stucco cracks. And that's literally because the front porch is falling off. The plan for the existing foundation is going to be a number of piling systems around the perimeter of the foundation. And what that will mean is pilings on the inside of the building, pilings on the outside of the building, and we will literally straddle across and underneath the existing foundation, connecting it to those new pilings to shore the foundation and hold it right where it's at now. There will be some leveling and straightening of the floor system, but before we can do that, we've got to stabilize the foundation where it's at. There is an existing vault inside the bank that where the stabilization of that foundation is going to be a little bit more complicated, a little bit on-site engineering that will be done as we go through the demolition. So let's go inside and take a look at what we've got happening. There will be a front porch here, but a new front porch. It will have decorative stone lights. We don't believe that these are the original doors, but the frame and the transom up above it looks like we're going to try and salvage that, incorporate it into the new door system. When we walk through the front door, the first thing we see is the original safe that was inside the vault of the bank. We're told that this is where they actually stored the cash. The vault also held, from what we understand, were safe deposit boxes. When we look around and look at what the bank used to look like, we can see on the wall there where the old railing system was, where one of the bank presidents or vice presidents sat in the corner. Along the back of the building is where the teller stations would have been in front of the vault. We do not believe that these two rooms that are there now, bathrooms, were there originally. I want to draw your attention to the floor, and that is the main reason that Classic Carpentry is involved in this project. This is a southern yellow pine, what they call river pine or Dade County pine flooring. We were successful after Hurricane Ian in removing and restoring the original Dade County pine floor that was in the Palm Cottage. So that's going to be the process that we use here as well, where the floor is removed board by board, taken off site, dried out, and brought back at the appropriate time to be reinstalled and sanded and finished as new. This is the, as you can see, we've got the original wainscoting that went around the bank. We will salvage as much of this as we can. That also is a yellow pine. The newer stuff you'll find is going to be in fir or white pine. We'll be trying to replicate this so that we can fill in where we need to. The plan is to make this is going to be the new visitor center for Everglades City, but the plan is that it looks like the original bank when you walk in the front door. This structure will be gutted down to the studs for a number of reasons. One is to remove any hazardous materials, but then to also make room for new finishes, new electrical, new plumbing, correction of any of the structure that needs to be corrected. But make no mistake, there are some major structural changes that have to happen because now the building will be used for assembly purposes. They'll be having meetings here, town meetings, as well as being a visitor center. So there will be a major structural steel beam system that will run down the length of the building that will sit on top of these original wood posts. All of that weight is going to be transferred to a similar piling system that we're using at the exterior foundation down to grade. The idea is to remove all of the weight from the existing foundations and get it sitting on the new piling systems. In order for that to happen, this entire floor system, both the Dade County pine as well as the floor joists, have got to be removed so that we can bring equipment in to install all of these pilings. plan for here is going to be an open floor plan outside of a bathroom that will be at the back here, as well as a reception area that will take up this space here. On the other side of the building will be a grand steel staircase that will come up and turn to get to the second floor. This whole ceiling system and floor system up above us will have to be removed to make way for that. When we go to the back of the bank, or the original bank building, we see a couple of bathrooms here that are going to be demolished and removed. But the most interesting thing about the project outside of the floor is salvaging the original vault. This is going to be a theater when we're finished. The entire vault will be sandblasted and restored to look like brand new. And inside you'll see, from what we can tell, this building, this vault, was on the exterior of the bank. So there's steel walls that are also encased with concrete. There are a number of plans that we've looked at and reviewed to hold this vault in place. Probably the most important part of our demolition and structural portion of the project is to keep this vault in place and stable while we're doing the construction. It's going to be with a series of pilings at the perimeter, perhaps grade beams underneath. We have a shoring engineer that will be working with us daily to make sure that every move we make is calculated and that we hold everything in place. When we walk through the building here, we get to an interior staircase. When we step through this doorway, we are now into the addition that was built in the 50s. We will try and salvage any of the millwork that was in here. At that time, it was done to mimic what was in the bank, but there is no salvaging the structure itself. It's the best thing to do is remove it and rebuild it. Where this staircase is now will be the new elevator. And then just on the other side of this elevator will be two outside verandas. There'll be handicap ramps coming up the other side that will allow them to get up to the space. When we come up, we see more Dade County pine flooring. The width is different. They did their best in that day to try and match what they had in the main building. This will all be pulled up and used wherever we can. We do have a source. We won't have enough flooring when we're done, but we do have a source with the Southern Yellow Pine Association of Florida that will be able to match this floor up. Again, this material, this flooring, is said to come from trees that are hundreds of years old, so it is priceless. You can see the addition and the weather is really taking a toll on it. Again, no point in trying to salvage any of this structure. We'll remove what we believe can be salvaged and used in the new finishes, but not much. So you can see here the difference in the floor elevation when we're coming from the addition into the new. Again, more damage in the addition. There is a new roof on the main building, so fortunately we don't see that in the main part of the structure. Come through here, you could see the old staircase going down and coming up. We don't dare go in there, but this will all be gone. For the second floor plan, it doesn't change much. The main corridor will remain as is, although this whole second floor will be gutted down to the studs as well. This will be a series of offices, library, places for people in the community to use for whatever they teaching classes or simply reading. These offices were used by businesses above the bank back in the day. Some of the prominent businesses in town would rent these offices upstairs. All of the flooring up here is going to have to be removed because of the substantial structural changes we have to make to the floor. Again, we're now going to assembly, so we have to prepare for the weight loads that would be with 50, 100, 150 people that might be in the facility at one time. The most unique thing about the second floor is the original, I guess it would be the 1900s air conditioning, so, or your whole house fan. We're planning to pull this fan, sandblast it, restore it, possibly put a glass panel up there so that people could see what it was like. The new building will be fully air conditioned, sprinklered, but we want to salvage some of these things so that people can actually see the original construction of the building. We come down, as I was explaining outside with the stucco, you can see the structure of the building is very solid. They've had a couple of visits from termites, but nothing that we can't deal with. But this structure is all out of cypress boards, sway braces, with a lath and plaster finish on top of it. That is the old world way of doing stucco, and that's why it stays in such great shape. There will be a library up in here with a movable wall that comes across so that the space could be used as one or as two. This is a visitor center, but it's also going to be used for community events. As we progress in this project, stay tuned. It's an exciting project that we're blessed to be a part of, and look for upcoming videos. We'll be doing videos and pictures and on our Instagram or our website, classiccarpentryinc.com. Look for us on Facebook, and for all the updates on the building. We're hoping that everybody in Everglades City and Naples area is excited about this project as we are.